Okay, the pivot, here it is. We're going to think about the way our spine is working, our shoulders and hips are working. So when we set up to a golf shot, remember this. For a right-handed golfer, your right hand is lower on the club than your left hand, so our right shoulder should be lower than our left shoulder. And what that does is that tilts our spine a little bit so that the top part of my spine is farther from the target than the lower part of my spine. And what we want to do is, as much as possible, we want to maintain the orientation of this tilt to our upper body. So a good-looking pivot would look kind of like this. And you can see what's happening is I'm maintaining my torso angle so that the top of my torso up here is farther from the target than the bottom end of my torso. Really, really common. If you look at yourself in the mirror, if you look at yourself on video, we see a lot of golf swings where the right hip or the back hip slides backwards. And look what happens as my hips slide backwards. I get a reverse pivot. I'm actually not able to turn my shoulders or my hips properly, and I end up with a out-to-in swing path. A lot of times we end up with a reverse weight shift coming through. We hit top shots and chunk shots and all that. So here's the pivot drill. We're going to set up looking in a mirror with the club right up on top of our shoulders like this. I'm going to get down into my golf posture. And again, I'm a right-handed golfer, so my right shoulder is lower than my left shoulder. All right? And I'm going to look in the mirror, and I'm going to make sure that I'm turning my hips and shoulders, and I'm maintaining this relationship where my spine stays tilted. Okay? I do not want to end up with this sort of a thing. All right? We need to get back over here. Now, when we look at things from down the target line, the next part is this. I'm tilted. Again, this is my primary spine angle, we call it. You can see that obviously I've got a tilt. I'm not straight up and down here. So when we do our drill, I'm going to look in the mirror again. I need to make sure my back shoulder is lower than my front. And I'm going to maintain now the tilt this way as well. So this is something that's really critical. At first, when we have somebody that's got a problem with their pivot, they will tend to, when they do this drill, come this way. And, you know, at least I'm getting at least when I do it that way, I am keeping the orientation correct over here, but we need to keep it correct on both angles, both down the target line as well as from the face-on view. Okay, so this is something you can do, practice in front of a mirror, and what I would recommend is start off with this face-on view where you can see that trail shoulder comes down. We've got a spine tilt here, and we can turn the shoulders and turn the hips. I'm just not sliding the hips and letting them turn. This is something that's a lot easier to do with a club up like this than it is with your hands on the club. It's just a lot harder at first to do it while you're swinging the club. Once you get it down from this point of view, then start looking at yourself in the mirror this way. Okay, I've got this nice tilt to my spine going this way, my good posture. I'm going to maintain it, and I want my shoulders to turn 90 degrees relative to my spine. I don't want that to happen. Okay, so that's the way it is down the line. That's the way it is face on. Practice this 5 or 10 minutes a day, and your golf game will get a whole lot better. As I said a second ago, the posture looks so much better, but what we want is your weight a little bit more towards the balls of your feet than it is right now. You're a little bit too much on your heels. A little bit. So I don't want you literally to be on your toes, but I want it more towards the toes than it is now. And then ideally, what that'll do is help you have your hands a little, you can move your hands a little bit closer to the ball also. So when you combine leaning forward a little bit and moving your hands forward a little bit, you may feel like you're moving a lot, you may feel like you're standing much farther from the ball. So even though it's not going to look like a big difference, it might feel like a big difference. So let me just point out something else here for future reference. See right here, your hands are positioned right in front of your chest for the most part, right? Your club is pointed The club shaft itself is pointed down really close to that target line. Okay? This is where we need to be in this range. This is a swing that is on plane. So I'm going to back up again here a little bit. Get rid of that second line. So that little cone is our swing plane cone. I drew one line on the shaft because that's the angle at which your club is set up at, and it's going to return through close to that angle. Okay? The angle on the shoulders is drawn because the end of your lever is not your hands, it's your left shoulder. So I have another line up on your shoulder. Okay? We don't want to have our club get too far out of this cone, and we want, in general, the plane of the angle of the swing to be in between that cone throughout your swing, roughly. Okay? This looks really good. So what you're doing is you are controlling the club, and you've probably never thought about this before, but because you're trying to hit a ball on the ground, you're doing a great job of keeping your club on plane. At the top of your swing, notice how the angle of your club face, and I stopped it here so we can get a look at it. See the angle of your club face there? It is very, very close to matching the angle of your left arm, which means it's a square club face, without you ever thinking about it. Where's my swing plane? Let me put that back. So I'll go back to our swing plane again. Okay, so this is looking good. Club face is good. So as far as being able to hit straight golf shots, so far you're in great shape. Your club is on plane when the low end of the swing points at the target line, except for when there is no low end of your club, which is right now because your club is parallel to the ground. So when your club is parallel to the ground, we also want it to be parallel to your target line. So we're right. And being on plane means you're getting set up to swing the club on a path that's desirable to hit the ball towards the target. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so now what we're going to do is go back over here again. Your number one thing to focus on should be that pivot that we did last time. But let's look at something to help us hit the ball a little bit better. Impact position. Rory's impact position. Right, so he's got a little more weight in his front foot, his hand's a little bit more forward. Okay? Alright, so what we're going to do is have we hit the impact bag? Did we do that at all yet? We're going to hit the impact bag and get you into this position.
Be sure to check out our YouTube channel for more instructional videos.